There were some great saves on both ends of the pitch today, but there were also some really, really great goals. Really, all of them were bangers, I would say. England edged past the Netherlands. Let's get into the highlights breakdown. England attacking on the left. Ball has been stretched wide on the left side. We see striker Elliot does really well in this moment. He does not get himself stuck in between the two centre-backs, but instead he is drifting wide. And this is a great cutback from his teammate. Great first touch. Just want to point out that one of these defenders needs to be reading Elliot's movement over here. They either got to be tight, they got to be covering him. They both should not be square and in line with each other because there is no other threat in the penalty box. This defender makes a half-hearted challenge. But again, as I've said before, if you are stretched in this moment, 9 times out of 10, you've lost that one-on-one. Rightfully so, Elliot gets around. He takes a shot. That's a great save from the keeper. As well, making himself big, stretching out his feet, gets a good grounded save. Elliot's shot is not bad as well. But I like to think that even if it was not safe, this centre-back has done his part by covering the goal behind the keeper. Chance for Netherlands now. Now they break over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 on 5 at this moment. Want to observe some movement patterns over here. This winger does well. He does the underlap, gets the ball rightfully so. Now he has a couple of options over here. But I want to point out that I would say the Dutch players are just not close enough for them to really fulfill the full threat of this situation. This number 7 should be up higher to be going for that near post tap in. This one, number 19 is shouting for it, but you know, from this angle it looks easy to say, yeah, cut it back to him, but no, it's not. From the player on the ball, his view is going to be blocked by these 2 English players, and he's not going to be able to pass it back. So in the end, he goes for the low drive. I do think he was going for a striker, but I think number 7 he has either got to be attacking the near post hard, going for that tap in to flick it over the keeper, or he now has to stretch himself really wide to go for it. And then again, England's defense have really covered up the spaces over here. Keeper makes a great stop, by the way. He uses his hands to claw it out for a corner. But in that passage of play, the English setup was pretty good in that 5-on-5 that forces the Dutch team to really go for the one chance they have and didn't really convert. Next chance for the Dutch team. They have a nice little triangle as well. I get a sense that they play the midfield really well, which is really akin to Dutch football because they have a lot of space on the edge of the box. English players are sitting on a low block over here. Ideally, someone should be a little bit higher up. But then again, Dutch team is going on the heavy overload as well. This player eventually goes for the shot. Some things to say about the defending over here. He makes the jump. He's already selling himself before the shot. A more skillful player would have, done a ball roll, would have done a fake, would have got himself even closer to the goal to perhaps unleash a more threatening shot over here. So the right way to defend is to always, keep your eyes on the ball to the very last second. Keep your feet in L shape, not like that, and do not sell yourself for the jump. Otherwise, you're going to get run over. He does not over here, but he doesn't make himself big enough to really block the shot. Anyway, shot gets saved. Let's talk about the goal from England now. They play it out in the midfield. Number 8 sees Elliot. Elliot does really well, dropping into this half space. The Dutch are stretched now. Only have the back 4, and that isn't even in a straight, clean line. So, centre-back has no choice but to step. In my opinion, you don't really have to step. You don't have to dive in so high up the pitch. He's barely gotten past the centre circle. Elliot buys it, does a nice little flick on, and right now it becomes a 5-on-3. They kind of get away with it here at first because this flick on isn't really well controlled. I don't think he was meaning that. I think he was meaning to take it away. But this is a good follow-through run from number 8. He carries, and right now it's a real 5-on-3. I appreciate the runs from all the players over here. So number 8 has so many options. Number 10 is stretching them left. Elliot stretching them right. He, of course, chooses Elliot, but number 18, the striker, does put himself in between the centre-backs as well. So there is so much danger over here. I feel even if Elliot doesn't score this, any one of the English players up top would have done so. Nevertheless, he does a nice little toe poke over here. Great awareness from this striker to just leave the ball to Elliot, who has more space and more time. You know, it's very easy to get confuffled in the middle of an attack, to lose composure, to put your feet there where it doesn't belong. But Elliot just takes a nice touch. He's left-footed, sets him out. He sets himself up again, and then from here, he does the right thing. You know, at this moment, on your weaker side, you just got to hit it. Unless if the Dutch defender, number 5 over here, was much closer, the cutback was on, and that would have probably led to a goal as well. But in this situation, he had full right to take a shot on, which he does, and does brilliantly as well. Great goal. I'll let it play out a little bit quicker. We have the 4-on-3 over here. Excuse me, by this point, it's gotten to a 5-on-3. They drive. Great leave. I like to believe that there was a shout from Elliot to leave the ball, and he just takes it on. 1 touch, 2 touch. Options are plenty. This is good. 1 striker to stretch the centre back, 1 person hanging at the edge of the penalty spot, 1 person at the back post. This is what a great counter attack looks like. Well finished. Take nothing away from that. Now, goal for Netherlands, but it does come from an England mistake. So the ball is hoofed up. This defender is over here. He's trying to control it. Comes off, you know, one part of his foot that I don't think he meant. Obviously, it's just sad to see at this level a mistake. You know, sometimes the nerves just get to you. I think he had the right to take it down. He had time, or if he could play a soft pass to any of his forward players, this would have been good. But, you know, mistakes happen, and then, you know, he slips it. You know, even if he knew he would be taking a touch and if he would be risking losing the ball, I don't think I would blame him either, because he was so high up the pitch that it didn't really feel like a threat. But Noah Ohio just runs on, and he just tries something nobody expects from here, and he must have seen the keeper already way off his line. And that being said, it's not that he's way off his line. Probably he was way off earlier before the passage of play. But he's made up good ground to cover as much as he can. But nevertheless, it's still a great shot with whatever space that's left between the keeper and the near post. You know, Ohio finds it and he scores. Let's get to the winning goal. This one is an individual piece of brilliance. So Elliot's here, again, somewhat the half space. This time the Dutch have a low block. We have 4 defenders here and kind of like a curved 4-man midfield. Elliot is shielding the ball. I'm going to be pointing out the many things he does right individually over here and a few things the Dutch could have done better. So he's frees himself up from his marker and immediately he turns and attacks the space. I feel the Dutch over here could have been a little bit more anticipative of what was about to happen next, but he is still flat-footed over here. Very, very slow to attack. But what stretches England out is not only Elliot's progressive dribbling. Number 8 comes in and disturbs the play as well. So he's making an inside run, which is very distracting when you have another opposition player driving at you on the outside. This Dutch midfielder is not making up any ground, and I feel that's where they kind of lose it. So passing him on to this Dutch midfielder, you know, he's already going to be off balance because he was already following number 8. And rightfully so, Elliot takes advantage of that. It's a very basic shimmy, drop your right shoulder, go to the left, and then out of nowhere, you know, he finds himself in between the 2 defenders over here. He has a great shooting opportunity. He does everything right. He shoots into the bottom right corner. Even if he's closed down, I'd say perhaps the fullback could have gone in for a sliding tackle, but then it would have opened up number 9 to score as well over here. So the Dutch were already, I would say, kind of open up in this space when there was seemingly no danger. I'll let this play out. Over here, again, great shimmy over here, and then right at this moment, he takes a great bottom right finish. Again, now we see it a little bit close up. He's driving, again, probably should have been better from this midfielder. Number 8 does the dummy run. The Dutch midfielder following him is against momentum of the ball, so Elliot just takes full advantage of that and into the space, into the bottom right corner, which is why he is an established Premier League player, and it showed throughout this game. So England get through to the final to face Germany.